Hey, good evening, everybody. This is Nathan Pennington. I'm the founder of RunDreamAchieve.com, and I just want to make a small, short video this evening in regards to the sub 3 hour marathon. I just completed a very in-depth course called the Sub 3 Hour Marathon Pro, which is going to be focused on helping athletes get under that 3 hour marathon barrier. And it's very aggressive. There is very few marathoners around the world that actually break that barrier each year, and the runners that are doing it are definitely practicing at below race pace in order to hold that pace for that amount of time. So the pace per mile is 6:52 per mile. It comes out to also 4:16 per kilometer. So that's 6:52 per mile for 26.2 miles, 4:16 a kilometer for 42.18 kilometers for the distance. So my best tip that I can give you, and this is just a little piece of the course itself, is to focus on your long run. Your long run should be the most difficult workout that you do. It's a workout that in the past I would run very easy. I would run preparing for marathons. I'd run between 20 and 24 miles in length, but it was always around like 6:30 to 7 minute per mile pace. And I would do the speed work. I would do the hill repetitions, tempo runs, things like workouts like that. But it wasn't until 2007 that I started working with the U.S. Army World Class Athlete Program and a 1985 Boston Marathon Boston Marathon champion, Lisa Rainsberger, that I totally switched up the way I trained for the marathon. And that biggest change was the pace that I was doing the long run at. So instead of doing 6:30 to 7 minute mile pace, I was doing long runs between in the 5:20s to 5:50s per mile pace at altitude. So drastic change, a major shift in the psychology piece of it, your mental training. I'm a firm believer that you absolutely must see what you want in your mind first before it becomes a reality in real life. And I definitely believe that. Billy Mills, who was the last Olympic gold medalist in the 10,000 meters, said it perfectly. He said that the subconscious mind cannot tell the difference between reality and imagination. And that is absolutely 100% fact. I visualized dozens of times a day, every single day, running under 2 hours and 22 minutes, which back in 2008 was the Olympic trials B standard time. And it was a time that I needed to run in order to be a legitimate soldier athlete in the U.S. Army World Class Athlete Program. That was the bare minimum time that I needed to run. So a lot of RunDreamAchieve.com has been built around that. It's been built around helping athletes get beyond the psychological aspect of running performances that they perhaps at this point may not believe they can achieve. There was a time where I debuted in the marathon with a 2:43.36 at the 2002 New York City Marathon, and it took from 2002 to 2007 to run from 2:43 to 2:19.35, which is my PR right now. Sub 3 hours is very aggressive running. So if you're wanting to break a 3 hour marathon, I don't care if you're at 3:59 right now or your PR is 3 hours and 2 seconds. The fundamentals, the strategies that you have to follow are universal, regardless if you're a beginner athlete or you're an elite athlete. The long run, you have to change up how you're conducting that. If you're running easy every weekend doing long runs, that's not going to actually really prepare you to break a 3 hour marathon. You're talking 6:52 mile pace, 4:16 kilometers for 42K with no rest. So you have to change up the way you're doing the long run. It doesn't mean you have to run hard every single weekend. That's definitely a great way to get burned out and to get stale very quickly. But you do have to run aggressive, gradually increase the distance that you're running, and then over time gradually hold your heart rate at a higher heart rate. Usually when I was doing it, when I was training, and I'm still training full-time while working full-time, but at my highest training levels, I was running at 160 heart rate. So That's about anywhere from 85 to 88% of your max heart rate, depending on your age. But at that particular pace, that's where I got the best results at. And you'll notice, obviously, in the beginning of a training block, you're not going to be able, if you're running at 160, you may be running at 640 pace early on, the first few weeks, and then you're gradually going to see, your pace dropping down to like 615, 605, 545. This is as you get fitter. Fitness for a sub 3-hour marathon does not come overnight. I absolutely stress that you just stay patient. That's really the key with being successful in the marathon distance. This isn't a 5K or a 10K event where you can 3 miles or 6 miles and it's over. The marathon is obviously 26 miles, 42K. You have to make sure that you're, one, not drinking or not sipping in the race or in training. Teach yourself to learn how to drink. If you look at the best marathoners in the world, they're out there, they're drinking as they're running. And they're holding, you notice too, they're holding the water bottle or the fluid bottle for as they're running. So practice that in training. Don't just sip, a few sips in training or in the race. That's a huge mistake I made personally. I've seen a lot of marathoners make. They're not taking in enough fluids and they're not taking in enough calories during the race. You cannot expect your body to perform at the highest levels if you're not consuming enough calories. That's something you can practice. That's something I had to practice in training. I had a lot of marathons that, for whatever reason, I would finish the race and I would be way off where I wanted to run, and it really came down to one, starting to work with some really, really phenomenal coaches, incredible mentors of mine. Lisa Rainsberger, 1985 Boston Marathon champion. Jack Hazen, who was my collegiate coach from 1995 to 2000. He was the 2012 USA Olympic track and field assistant coach. And Dr. Joe Vigil, who's one of the world's most world-renowned exercise physiologists. These professionals taught me that to break a 3-hour marathon, one, you have to practice that long run. You have to get it to where you're varying up your paces. It's not just one easy long run every weekend that's 45 seconds to a minute above goal marathon race pace. So if you want to hold 6:52 marathon pace for 26.2 miles or 4:16 a kilometer for 42.1K, you absolutely must practice running at or below that goal marathon pace, and that definitely takes time. So I know this is just my first video. I've made it a commitment of mine in 2019 to make more videos. I know that I've been producing a huge amount of content on RunDreamAchieve since November of 2011. So I want to make more videos. I want to get more engaged with my readers, and I hope this, these few tips. One, make sure that you focus on not sipping in training and sipping fluids in the race. That is one of the biggest killers of a marathon race time that's out there, and that's one huge training aspect and racing aspect of the marathon that runners miss. And because of that, they start to second guess themselves. Well, maybe I don't have what it takes to break a 3-hour marathon, or maybe I'm too old to break 3 hours. That's not the case. It's a matter of training properly, focusing on recovery, and not running too hard on your recovery days, but practicing taking in more fluids, taking in more calories during your training, and do it in training first. If you're going to make any mistake whatsoever, do it in training. That way you get to the race and you can adjust, and you've been there. You've already done it in training. So focus on getting more fluids in, more calories during your long runs. Practice, sitting water bottles out every 3 miles. That's going to help you out, because then you can practice that, that motion of having to hold the bottle while you're running, doing a 10 to 20 mile long run in training. So then when you get to the race, you've practiced that. It's become second nature, and then it gets a lot easier. And one, you'll be much more better prepared to not be running out of energy in the race because you've practiced it in training. So, and two, training at and below goal marathon race pace. You absolutely have to get comfortable being uncomfortable. And I brought that up in a few of the my recent posts. That is absolutely crucial to running a sub 3-hour marathon. It's that pace. You have to start feeling what it feels like to run longer distances under 6-minute mile pace. If you get to that point, 6:52 pace or 4:16 for a kilometer is not going to feel so aggressive. You're going to feel much more in control. So when just for an example, when I broke 2 hours and 20 minutes for the marathon, I had done so many long runs in the 5:20s and 5:50s at altitude, and some above 6 minutes. But I did that so often that when I was in the race, and because I tapered correctly, which is something else that I'll cover in another video, is you taper down, you're more rested, but it just feels like another long run. I mean, the last 10K of the race is what really counts. I mean, they say really there's the first part is the 20 miles, and the last part is the 10K. And that last 6 miles really is what counts. So these are just a few tips. I hope this video has been helpful for you. Like I said, I'm going to make a lot more videos based on the questions that my readers provide to me. And I'm going to be looking online too, because I know, athletes have a lot of different questions, whether it be fueling, whether it be mindset questions. But when it comes to the sub 3-hour marathon, and I go in very in depth, very detailed in regards to how to run under a 3-hour marathon in the sub 3-hour marathon pro course. And I'm really looking forward to seeing what that course does for athletes around the world. Right now, if you use promo code MARATHON, just in capital letters, MARATHON 30, you'll get a 30% discount on the launch price. So just go to RunDreamAchieve.com, click on Runner Courses in the navigation menu, and you can click on that to get signed up. So in the meantime, I look forward to helping you guys out in regards to any area pain point that you're having either in your training, your racing. If it's something psychological, something that I can help you out with, I definitely want to do that as well. So look forward to making more videos, and hope this sub 3-hour marathon video at least gave you a few tips on what you have to do to get under that barrier. And I know you'll be able to do it regardless where you're at. If you're at 3:59 or 3:02, 3:10, wherever you're currently at, you'll definitely be under 2:59 or 2:59 or faster in due time. Definitely do not forget the mental aspect. You have to believe it in your mind first. You have to see it in your mind first before it becomes a reality. So with that, have a great evening, and run, dream, achieve.